Hello, this is Robert Davies with the Utah Climate Center. In this episode of Utah Climate Notes, warming in Utah. Well, now that we've had a chance to look at warming across the globe, it's worth taking a look at how this is playing out here in Utah. And the short answer, as one might expect, is that Utah is indeed warming. And here's what that warming looks like in Logan, home to Utah State University and the Utah Climate Center. And to be clear about what we're looking at, each point on this graph is the average temperature in degrees Celsius for each year going back to the late 19th century. Now, the first thing you might notice is that the scale of the short-term ups and downs, the year-to-year variability, is bigger for Logan than it is for the globe. This is true for all such temperature records as the spatial scale is reduced. Continental scale averages, for example, are more variable than planetary scale. Regional scales, such as states, have more variability than continents, and local scales, such as Logan, have the most variability of all. And with just a little bit of thought, this should seem intuitive. After all, changing the temperature of a single room is easier than changing the whole house. But short-term noise notwithstanding, there is a clear upward trend throughout the entire period of record here, beginning in the 1890s. And that trend has been pronounced over the past 40 years or so, as depicted by the solid red line. This trend becomes more obvious if we squeeze the time scale and stretch the temperature scale. And we find out Logan isn't alone. Every location in Utah is warming. Though, as is the case globally, the warming across Utah isn't uniform. If we line up the various graphs, it's easy to see the rate of warming of the different locations, as indicated by the steepness of the blue lines, isn't the same everywhere. The steeper the line, the faster the warming. Logan, for example, in northern Utah, is warming at about half a degree Fahrenheit every decade, about twice the global average. Hanksville, on the other hand, in southeastern Utah, is warming at closer to 3 times the global average, decade over decade for the past 40 years. And if we do the math, it turns out the state as a whole is warming at more than twice the global average. That Utah is warming faster than the global average isn't surprising. This is because the global average includes the oceans, and land warms faster than water, having to do with something called the specific heat of water compared to land, for those of you who might be interested. And faster warming still in the southeast is also not surprising, since drier air of the desert warms faster than moister air. So there we have it. The planet as a whole is warming, and Utah is not being left out. Utah Climate Notes is a collaboration between the Utah Climate Center and Cooperative Extension, making essential climate science real for the people of Utah.